Hi, and welcome to this episode of Authentic Achievements, where it's my absolute pleasure to be joined by my friend and colleague, Rahim Gulamali, from Duchesne and Associates. He's co-founder of DNA Global Community, Boardroom advisor, startup business mentor in strategy, transformation, M&A, Cornerman, community builder, podcast host, and a global connector. And as a trusted advisor, he supports senior leaders and executives to achieve sustainable high performance, empower people, and transform approaches to achieve sustainable growth through a combination of coaching, consulting, connecting cohorts. He enables co-creation opportunities and enables you and your business towards future success. Rahim, it's an absolute joy to have you on here. And I know from having worked with you personally for the last couple of years, just what an impact you have on the organizations that you work with and in the community that you're building with DNA. So thank you so much for coming along and sharing with us a bit about your journey.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. And again, yeah, we know each other for quite a long time working together. So it's amazing to contribute to your podcast show and happy to contribute, of course. Cool.
Oh, bless you. You are such a joy. So to start off with, what would be great is if you could share with us a little bit about your journey to date. You know, how did you get here? There's been so many exciting things that I know, but perhaps you could share with the audience.
Well, look, if you look at the journey, I think the journey starts when you're young, when you're a kid. You have your parents taking care of you. My parents had to work really hard. And it goes back to their youth that they had nothing. So when we were growing up, our parents wanted to give us everything. They did everything to give us everything. When you grow up, you get a bit of a vibe from your parents. And everyone who tells me I am not going to be like my father or my mom, well, forget about it. You are your father, you are your mom, you are your family. Nothing's going to change about that. So if I look at my journey, and I'm going to look at basically my career journey, I've done a lot of things. I worked 7 years in finance, 7 years in sales, 7 years in customer experience, and the last 5 years-ish, I'm working in transformation, change, boardroom advisory. One thing I learned a few years ago, and it's actually just before I met you, Kim, is that we tend to live a dream. We want to live a dream. And some people tell me, Rahim, you lived a dream. You've been all over the place. You've traveled the world, been in planes, been in airports, been in beautiful restaurants, been in beautiful cities. The thing is that, yes, if you do a lot of business travel and you have teams across the globe, there are a few things what are happening. If you look at the teams you work with, you cannot lead teams across the globe if you are a micromanager. So I've never been one. I never had the opportunity. Not because I didn't want to, but actually I could not. Taking then living your dream, living the dream, is actually something like my parents were working hard. I said, I don't want to be like my mom and dad working 24/7, earning money. I did the same thing. That's why I ended up in international jobs. That's why I was traveling. That's why I was making a career. And everybody said to me, oh, you're so incredibly successful. But the question is, was I? 21 years of corporate life, 21 years of traveling, 21 years of the ability to deliver anything you throw at me. Yeah, that's resilience. But am I living my best life? So if you ask me, how did you come where you came? I think it was a life-changing decision to actually make a choice and actually investigate what life actually meant to me. And I'm not saying living the dream. I think we're going to talk more about that. Living your best life versus living the dream.
Oh, I'd love to, because I think it's right, isn't it? Sometimes people look outside in and go, oh, you've got all these things. I remember somebody telling me years ago when I used to travel a lot, that was such a glamorous lifestyle. So there's nothing glamorous about living that. and constantly having the wrong clothes, because like the weather, you've not got anything that actually goes with what you want it to. But I guess it was, that perception, because you traveled a lot, you went and delivered those things. But you're right. At what compromise? You look at it. And I remember having this debate with a friend many years ago who was like, it was right for you two, you're really successful. And I said, but it's about choice. We've given up having time at home. We've given up being able to spend more time with friends and family because you go to work on Sunday and you come home on Friday night if you're lucky. So it's been a compromise. And to your point, does that mean we're living our best life? And I know for me, when I had my little girl, that was a massive turning point for me, because I suddenly realised I'd waited 43 years to have this little person. And I wanted to make sure that I grasped every minute of it, and I didn't miss out on what is such an amazing experience. And that's what made me take my change from corporate life to running my own business. But I know you've made some amazing leaps, haven't you, in how to go and live your best life. And I'd love to hear more about why you've done it.
So we're talking about, so you mentioned perception. The perception is what people see from the outside. The perception is the expectation from everyone around you to become what they couldn't become, or become what they think you can become. That whole ambition around what success means, that perspective. It's always interesting when I talk to people I coach, and I ask them, okay, what is your biggest success? Well, I built a business, and I did that, and I grew my team, and I sold my business, and I'm rich. And okay, is that your biggest success? You know what my biggest success was? The day my son was born. The day I had a little boy in my hand, and I figured out, oh my God, what the F are you doing? You're never at home. You're living the dream. And I lived an extraordinary dream. Well, extraordinary. For the people, if you look me up, you will see I've been a DJ. I make music. I do my work. I travel everywhere. So it can be that people see it's a dream, but it was too much. It just was too much. I'm going to be honest. It took me 10 years. 10 years before I actually did something about it. Because the moment he was born, I was in love, and I had that, I need to change stuff. But Monday morning, when I was back on the flight, it was back to business. So I think it was around 40, and I was thinking, okay, is this it? I stopped my job, and they rehired me to do a transformation program. And again, 2 years went by, 42. Still didn't do anything about it. And then I said, look, this cannot continue like this. I need to find out what what is my vocation? What do I really love to do? And I figured out that, looking at the beginning of my introduction, 7 years of finance, 7 years of sales, 7 years of customer experience. I have a 7-year itch. Why do I have that? I like to do new stuff. I like to jump in the deep and do new stuff. When I already have done it, dusted it, it's out of the door. We learn from the past, but we create our own future. But I wasn't creating my own future. So I had to take a little bit of a step back. I looked at my profession. Am I doing what I like? Because you always start with there. Huh? The first concern you always have when you want to change your life is, do I have the money to pay for it? I actually figured out is that if I change my life like I want to live it, I need to think out how much money do I need to be able to do that, instead of how much money can I get more. It isn't about more. Less can be more. If you look at my life now, I earn a lot less. Maybe not true now, but the last few years it was a lot less. And I had to give in a lot of things I had. That beautiful car in front of the door, that beautiful house, buying a television whenever I could. If I saw a new car and it was there, bought it. Everything was consummate because you have the money. And you don't have anything behind that to give you a fulfilling life. And a lot of you people are living that life. When you go to network events, or when they are sober, they try to sell you something. Then in the evening, we go for a drink. Then they get drunk, and then start talking about what they all have. But actually, what they are telling you is what they don't have. Yeah. They don't have a life. So taking that back, profession, great. I know what I'm good at. Now I need to figure out what are the elements I like to do, because that will re-engineer how I am thinking about my future. But I also had to look at my passion. What I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about music. But can I be a DJ the rest of my life? No way. people, the youngsters will not even like me on the stage. Who's that old guy playing the music?
It'll be fine. You'll be retro.
I will be retro. Okay, it comes back. It's a new fashion. You get a new fashion later. I also had to look at what do I love, and then I figured out. Wait a minute. If I change my role, if I change my future, I not only have to look at me, because you hear a lot of I have to look at we. What's happening around me? What's happening in the community? Can I do something with my skills, with my talent, to help others? Because look, honestly, I don't believe doing good is standing in a kitchen cooking for people who don't have a home. I think it's good that people do that. We need people to do that. But it's a waste of my skills. Not really because I'm a good cook, actually. But besides that, it would be a waste of my skills. So I look at what I love. I look at what I'm being paid for. I look at what I'm good at. I look at what things people around me need. And I said, wait a minute. There's a model in there. I thought I had something new. It was actually not new. I talked to a common friend of us, Tiago Nunez, and he introduced me into Ikigai. I said, that's it. So I started deep diving into that model, and it's all around finding who you are, what you enjoy, where you want to be, and what's really important. And when you are self-employed, you tend to pick up everything you can. You want to be everywhere, fear of missing out, the FOMO.
Yeah.
But actually, the trick is purposely missing out on things, but applying focus towards your objectives and goal. So if you ask me what's your legacy in life, if you asked me 2 years ago, I want to have enough money on the bank account so when my son grows up, he has a house, he has all the stuff, and then he can build his future. Well, that's not my mission in life. He needs to be able to do that for himself. My mission in life is that he figures out what his ambitions are and what he loves, etc., like I had to do myself. So if you look at the model of Ikigai, and what brought me here was I'm good at coaching. I like coaching, not because I like coaching. I hate coaching, but I like helping people. I'm a people's guy. So when I work with executives, it's not getting here's a model. Let's talk about the model and complete that. I never do that. Because I believe that everyone is different and everyone needs a different type of mentor, coach. I call myself a cornerman. That's a bit more because I'm there 24/7 for you. And not as a mentor. I will not coach you in one specific thing, but I will challenge the hell out of you. Because I want to make sure that if you run a beautiful business, you're a beautiful person too. You cannot run a beautiful business if you're not a beautiful person. You cannot run a beautiful business if you don't have the energy, the dynamic, the love, the vibe to get it done. You can run a business even if you cannot do anything. I'm an example of that. I cannot do anything. I didn't study. I didn't do anything. I learned everything as I went. And of course, I have an MBA. And of course, I did that all later. But I never started off with that. I started off with jumping in the deep, experiencing, making my mistakes, people telling me you're awkward. Why did you do that? But I took that as a positive feedback. And that brought me where I'm now. So what happened? You're saying, long story. Here he goes. Drum rolls. Well, the drum rolls actually is that I found what I wanted to achieve in life. And that means I mentor startups. We just recently did a program where we're helping women in Africa start their own business. We mentor them in the business model. We mentor them in the go-to-market, their branding, etc., etc. We don't get any pay for that. But we do get paid for that because we get some love. We share some love. We're getting people with our experience to grow and to excel. So that's one thing. I think like that we can do what the world needs, try to help. Then if you look at work-wise, you have to do something, but have to also have to pay the bills. And it was a bit of a struggle. Do I go back to corporate, easy going, because I got a big network? Or do I try to use everything I learned and then learn a bit more to be able to help those guys? Because if I look at my old colleagues, they're stressed. They're stressed like hell. They're working 80 hours a week. Half of the time, they're not even productive. They're not sporting, they're drinking, they're getting fat. I got a bit fatter, but that's logical when you live in Spain. You wake up with a beer, that's normal. But I just keep my body, my mind, my soul in the right level, in the right mode. I do my walking meetings on the beach. So if you look at my LinkedIn, you probably will see something where I'm in my shorts on the beach with a nice shirt on and a phone doing a stand-up meeting. That for me is life. It doesn't have to be your life, by the way. But for me, it's being outside, being in nature, being under the elements, being with other people and listening to their life stories, helping them out, not by telling them, by asking them questions. And that natural curiosity. And that came slowly over the last few years. Now it's my business. I connect people. If people need a connection, business-wise, if people need support, I have a massive network. And I'm utilizing that network because the brand and the network is really important to grow yourself, grow your community, and learn fast. If I don't know the answer, I'm not going to tell you the answer. I will call Kim or someone else because I know they're better at certain areas. So when you use the power of the network, you can grow exponentially yourself, but also grow the people around you. Again, back to my vocation. I'm turning a bit around things, but if you ultimately look from living the dream in a corporate life, in planes, trains, automobiles, taxis, karaoke bars, I've seen a lot of them. If you ask me, Tokyo, how was it? I know the airport. I know a taxi driver, and I've been in a karaoke bar, just as an example. I haven't seen anything. If you look at the last 2 or 3 years, I've spoken to hundreds of people. I'm coaching a lot of people currently. I'm getting my assignments through the network, speaking positively of, have a chat with Rahim. He's not selling, but he's there to contribute and to help you grow in the 4 pillars that we have. And I know I'm good at that, but not because I have been trained to be good at that. It's because I want to be able to help others. And when you put that first, the rest flows together as a whole.
I love that. It's so true. It reminds me, as you know, I love a good quote. It reminds me of the Pablo Picasso one, which is the meaning of life is to find your gift and the purpose of life is to give it away. And I think, that took me a long time to find that, which was, the meaning in life for me is to leave things better than I found them and to leave every situation with a feeling of increase as a result of that interaction. And I think once you get to that, the rest becomes so much easier, doesn't it? I mean, sure. One of the things I chat to people about, I think we're very aligned. It's like, I think at our base, people want to be listened to, understood and respected. And if you can create that space for them, listen to really understand, ask more questions to understand better, harness that passionate curiosity, they uncover the answer for themselves because the answer's in them. It's not in us, is it? It's just about asking those right questions. And what an amazing way of kind of creating a living. And I think you talked about FOMO. I think it's how we help people move FOMO to JOMO. So how do we turn the fear of missing out into the joy of missing out? Because actually you're not being stuck doing something you don't want to do, and you're instead doing something that makes your soul sing. Because if we were all doing stuff that made our soul sing, imagine what an amazing place that we would be in. So many things already. You already mentioned, obviously, one of your proudest achievements is the birth of your son. But what else what was perhaps your biggest achievement from a work point of view? And that doesn't necessarily mean, say, a specific project. It can be being able to take people on the journey, being able to kind of create communities and culture, which I know are vastly important to you as well.
So I'm going to tell you one story from a negative and a positive perspective. Yeah?
Yeah.
If you look at my job as a change lead within organizations, I tend to come into projects which need reinvigoration because they failed. Mainly technical projects where they forgot to think about the business change. I come into projects where organizations are, let's say, almost dying. Bad leadership, bad finances, bad choices to reinvigorate them. If I look at the proudest achievement is linked to also the sometimes horrible job I have to do within organizations. firing people, getting people to change jobs, getting people to get a new future. Well, I've never fired people without giving something back, helping them restart their lives. Because it may be that you're not suitable for one company. That does not mean you're suitable for others. It may not be that you're not in line or the right person to work in a company because you're just different. But there are other companies who need someone like you. And if you look at all those transformations, I'm known for, oh, damn, Rahim is in. And I had it in the past when I was working for corporates. Oh, Rahim, oh my God. Something is going to happen. Why is he in our office? And generally, often it was nothing. But sometimes there was something, what I needed to change or update, etc. If I look back, every time when I had to re-engineer an organization, after 6 months, I got thank you notes from the people who were impacted by the reorganization. Because I didn't do it just from a financial standpoint. When I help organizations change, I help the people within the organization change. That's my objective. Change is a people business. That technology part is just a tool. It's just a change of process, change of working. But that mindset is something which is changing. So if you look at business-wise, my most important achievement, and it's also my drive when I do change, is that when I leave the company, everyone, impacted or not impacted, comes to me and say, you did a hell of a job. Thank you for what you've done. You've protected us. You have helped us grow. You have helped us evolve. Even that wasn't your task. Because your task was cut cost X, for instance. And still you've done that. And as long as I can keep doing that, not stick to certain processes, because a lot of the companies I work for, sometimes I go through consultancy agencies and they give me a method. This is the method we want you to use. And I technically go, okay, I will follow the steps, but let me just do it. Like Lewis Hamilton says in the car when he's racing Max Verstappen, guys, shut up. Let me just do it and get it done. And that's the same thing. So my most proud achievements are, and I got a few of them, where people had to leave the organization. They were, the organization saw them as the bad people. They could be blockers, they could be whatever. It's generally a fear or fight action. And then those people come to me, Rahim, thank you so much how you did this. You really took care of us. I found a new job, or I found a new job within the company or outside the company. I found my new vocation. You helped me figure out where I'm good at and what type of organizations fit with me. So I don't have to go and apply to any organization, but I can focus on specific organizations. And those kind of things make me proud. Not the fact that I hit the target. Generally, I aim to hit the target, but that's not what makes me proud in a project. It makes me proud when people come back to me and tell me, you did a good job.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think, some of the hardest things we have to do is when we do have to let people go, or we do have to run redundancy programs. And in transformational change, that happens all of the time. But being able to do it with respect and to ensure that people are left undamaged as a result of what's going on is something to be proud of. And actually, it's something that I think more organisations should understand. I've always thought it was very short-sighted. Organisations, when they downsize, expect to grow. If not, they'd close. So why would you have a bad downsizing? Why would you be disrespectful of the people? Because that's not just going to impact the people that you let go. It impacts your standing in the community. It impacts your standing in the industry. So when you do grow, your ability to attract talent is impacted as well. So it's always struck me, it's very short-sighted, but sadly you're right. There's very few people that take the people on the journey to deliver the results. So you should definitely be very proud of that. What would you say?
If you look at the numbers, if you look purely at the numbers in transformation, we know that 93% of the transformations fail. They fail drastically. And if you take the example of shifting work and changing the policies, we tend as executive level just to look at the numbers. That means if we do that, we don't need so many people. If you do that, we don't have to spend those costs. But if you really look at the general process, for instance, changing a product to replace 4 other products, does that result into less people? Actually, it doesn't. It results into more people because you get extra work. You're not decommissioning products. It takes you 2 years before you can change them. So in that time, you need more people. So every process within the organization has a lever. If we do that, then we can save money on that perspective. Yeah, but what happens with the cost on the other side of the business?
Yeah.
And those levers of change are both emotional and personal, but also financial. And that's what's often forgotten. So when you have that view end to end, and that's more talking about my job, you will see that a change does not always result in cost cutting on the short term. It may on the longer term. A change should also not be focused on the cost cutting, but should be focused on making the business ready for the future.
Yeah.
Those are 2 different things. Cost cutting is easy. Making the business ready for the future to grow is something else. And I think I learned one thing from you, Kim. We talked 2 years ago when we did a project together. We talked about this topic around how to help organizations grow. But I think that one is for another session.
Yes, I'll be back on it. But you're right. It's getting people not to think about what do I need right now. It's what do I need next? What do I need for the future? Because you make probably very different decisions. And we'll definitely get back on and chat about that again, because you and I know we can chat all day, can't we? So,
Sure.
So what would you say has been the greatest lesson you've learned so far?
The greatest lesson I learned in my whole career is that your brand is everything. And it sounds a bit weird. If you think I'm a leader within a company, I'm here to lead my team. And if I do well and I hit the numbers, I'm doing a good job. But that's not true. I learned it the hard way. I did a hell of a job. I worked really hard, always successful, etc., etc. But I got the brand of someone who's there to fire people. And when I started the engagement, I delivered the numbers. The equity was happy. We had the right numbers, the right EBITDA, everything was sorted. But at the end, I was not successful because my brand was broken. I took the heat for other people because I was intern. So yeah, then you take the heat for other people so they can continue. But don't forget, your brand is everything. People don't buy what you have done. People buy who you are. So if you think that your successes in the past are a foundation on the future, if your brand is not right, people don't acknowledge that you are a true person. People don't acknowledge that you are a person who's there and caring for them. You can try and do anything you want, but you will never progress in your career. So one thing I think is really important for everyone to understand is brand awareness. If your brand gets broken, if you have a negative brand, perception is reality. The numbers are not important. Perception is reality. If you think you're doing right, but other people don't, that means their perception is reality. And changing that perception is complicated. So perception is reality. I think I need to change this to brand. Perception is reality.
I love that. It reminds me, I often say to people that perception, like possession, is 9/10 of the law. If you perceive it to be true, it's true. So unless I do something to change, it's going to remain true. And I think, I talk to lots of people who go, well, I don't need a brand because I'm a leader. It's like, you have one. We all have one. The difference is whether or not we own it, because our brand is what people say about us when we're not in the room. So exactly. whatever we think, it's there. It's a case of owning that and being accountable for it, isn't it? Being responsible for the impact that we have on other people. So great advice. And you're right. I think I was on my last guest on the show, we were chatting about this, which said, when we all started out, you were told not to show any vulnerability, and that to be a leader was almost to be stoic, and you were going to come different. No. And obviously that doesn't work, because people are people and people want to connect with people. And actually, once you learn to be human and authentic and share vulnerability without losing credibility, it all becomes so much easier, because then you're in it together and you can grow together. You're still there, aren't you, to have their back? But
Exactly.
I love that whole piece that is, you know, again, bound to remind me of a quote. Which said, reputation will get you in the room, character will keep you there.
Exactly.
That's kind of true, isn't it? We've got to bring our whole selves to the situation, and that can be a little bit scary, but once you step out there and do it, it's amazing the gift that brings for you in opportunities.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, they're afraid of that failure, and because they're afraid of failing, they tend to put an image of them out there, what they think is expected and respected. I think about 20 years ago, if you had a tattoo and you were going for an application, don't show them your tattoo. Well, guys, I've got multiple tattoos, and when I go to an application or to a customer, I don't care if they see it or not. But the perception changed over the years. Now it's normal. There's almost no one on the street here without a tattoo in Spain. So if you don't have a tattoo, you're actually not normal. But that's the truth. So things change. We tend to want to show other people what they want to see in us. But when you are your authentic self, and also for me, I took time, because I was the go getter, and I forgot about everything. I didn't care about anything. And someone said this to me, Rahim, you're such a beautiful person, but why are you doing like that? You're showing us someone else than you really are. And I woke up. I said, wait a minute, that's not me. But how can I be me? And if you don't figure out, and look it up, Ikigai, there are nice templates for that. But if you don't find out what your Ikigai is, you cannot be your best self and your authentic self. And that's, I think, a key message we should give everyone, because we become 40 and they tell us we have a midlife crisis. Some buy a Porsche, some do something else, whatever, but it's a midlife crisis. Now, that's the moment we start rethinking, hey, we are midway our lives. How do we want to live the remainder of our lives? And it takes time. I wish that people who are 20, 21, 22 years old get this at school. They should get this at school. And your Ikigai is going to change. If I would have done this when I was 20, probably my whole career would have been different. Maybe I would have been laying in a nice beach in Thailand with beautiful Thai kids and beautiful Thai food and living the dream and running a restaurant. Could be. But I would have had another life because I knew where my passion was. Yeah. And over the years, that will change. I look at my Ikigai every month. I got it here on the wall. I just look at it going, is that still what I want? Okay, what I'm doing now, is this contributing to what I want? And if it doesn't, I just don't do it. Even though I love to do it, I will not do it. Because there's 24 hours in a day. 8 of them I want to spend with my son. 8 of them I want to be sleeping. And 8 of them I want to do fun stuff. Which is my work, by the way. I'm a workaholic.
You've preempted what was going to be my last question, which is, what would be the advice you'd give to your younger self? And you've just summed it up so beautifully, which is to go and find what your Ikigai is, to really understand what it is, and to live your life with purpose and intention to deliver what it is that you're looking to do. Assuming I've summarized that appropriately.
You summarize it perfectly, and I like the purpose and intention. Live an intentional life. Yes. Don't live a passive life. Don't think that only drinking beers with your friends on the beach, which is lovely to do, and I still do that. I'm 47 years old. I'm probably going to do that until I die. But there's more in life. And when you have the right intentions, when you have the right view on what makes you happy, and not only you, think about your missus or your boyfriend or whatever people around you. Everyone has a purpose in life. And when you find that, you will find people in places you wouldn't even know, you wouldn't even expect. If you're a corporate guy and you work on senior level, you tend to work with people of that level. I can tell you the best conversations I ever had were people I've met on my travel who were travelers, wearing their shorts, their caps, the backpack, and they were telling me about their experiences. And I really enjoyed that. Yeah. But I never went back to that life But now I'm incorporating that into how I live my life. I like to take my backpack and go into the mountains. We like to go on an adventure, and we try to build our work life, everything around the things we love. So again, back to this, intention is really important. Purpose is really important. And just find the love for the great things out there. There's more than just the cocoon you're living in.
I love that. It reminds me, my nana always used to say, every day is a school day, so we should open our minds and we should look to learn something from everybody that we meet. And my granddad used to say, live each day as if it's your last, and one day you'll be right. And I now try and live my life between the two. Try and learn something every day, and don't put off till tomorrow something that you could do today because it's not promised. And I think it's being passionately curious about life, isn't it?
Exactly.
And saying, you know, what can I learn? You know, I learned so much from my little girl and from her little friends and their unique view on the world. And you're like, oh, I wonder why we stop looking at it like that. So, Rahim, it's been an absolute joy. So how can people get in touch with you?
That's quite easy. Go to LinkedIn. You'll find my profile. There are not many Rahim Gulamalis. Try to write it correctly. It's on the screen, so use that. There you'll find all my information, also my contact information. If you want to have a chat, or you're interested in learning more, or just a brainstorm, or maybe you want to share something for fun, I'm always open to have a chat. Just visit my LinkedIn, connect with me, open up to connections, and if I can help you, connect you to others, I'm happy to do so.
Oh, brilliant. It's been a joy as always. I will make sure all of your links are in the show notes, so it makes it really easy for people to get in touch with you. I look forward to next time, and thank you again.